Welcome to week 5 of the Lenten yoga series here at First Presbyterian Church. I'm Nathan, and I will be guiding you through the benefits of yoga today as we take a moment to disconnect from everything that we have going on in our lives, be it good or bad, and bring ourselves here to center our minds, our bodies, and our spirits in the one place here where our feet are, taking a moment to allow this practice of yoga to draw us closer to God. As we focus on the word for this, the 5th Sunday of Lent, is love and God's love for us. To begin, find a comfortable seated position at the front of your mat, with legs crossed and the crown of your head extended to the ceiling, letting those shoulders drop away from your ears, tilting your chest up a little bit. I'll read a short reflection on love here and God's love for us. Matthew 5:44-45. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your heavenly Father. For he makes his sun rise on the bad and the good, and causes rain to fall on the just and the unjust. Jesus tells us that God's love does not discriminate between those who are good and those who are bad. Loving our enemies is no easy task, yet as followers of Jesus, that is what we are called to do. Our love should reflect the love that God has for each person. Jesus encourages us to grow in love for all by praying for them. In that way, we can come to see through the eyes of God and love with his love. What must I let go of in order for those in my life that I see as enemies or persecutors? To begin, taking those left fingertips and extending them long to the left. On an exhale, dropping that right ear to the right shoulder, stretching through the left side of our neck. Bringing that head back upright and the hand back to the knee, extending those right fingertips along the ground to the right, dropping that left ear to the left shoulder. Inhaling those arms up above, bringing that head back upright, and exhaling as we set that left hand on the ground at the base of our spine and the right hand on the left knee, twisting to the left. Inhaling the spine long as we then exhale deeper into the twist over that left shoulder. Inhaling those arms up above, overhead, and exhaling as we drop that left hand to the right knee and that right hand to the base of our spine, looking to the right. Inhaling that spine long as we then exhale deeper into the twist over that right shoulder. Inhaling those arms up above, overhead. Exhaling the hands to the knees before we make our way to a tabletop position. Hands and wrists under the shoulders and knees under the hips with a neutral spine. From here we'll go through a few cat and cows, dropping our belly to the mat and sending our hips and our chests tilted up, our gaze to the front of the room. Inhaling for cow, exhaling as we arch our spine to the ceiling for cat. dropping our gaze to the floor, to our belly button. Inhaling for cow, dropping our bellies to the ground, our chest and our gaze forward. Exhaling for cat, arching our spine to the ceiling. From here, we'll repeat this a few more times at our own pace. Dropping our belly on an inhale for cow, and exhaling, our spines arching to the ceiling for cat. Here we'll make our way to a neutral spine. And now to thread the needle, on an inhale, sending our right arm out and up. Exhaling as we bring that palm facing up behind our left wrist and out to the left, pressing through the left palm to drop that right shoulder and temple to the ground, keeping the weight off of the neck as we extend that left arm forward or up to the ceiling. Coming out of the pose by taking that left palm in front of the face, pressing through the hand as we bring our shoulders back over our wrists. Moving towards the other side by inhaling as we send that left arm out and up. On an exhale, flipping that palm up to bring it behind the right wrist as we send it off to the right. Pressing into the right palm as we lower our left shoulder and temple to the ground. Sending that right hand to the front of the mat or up to the ceiling. Making sure to keep the weight off of our neck. We'll hold here for a few moments. From here, pressing that right palm into the mat in front of our face, bringing our shoulders up over our wrists. As we then make our way into downward facing dog by placing those hands, a handprint forward, tucking those toes under, and pressing through the legs as we send those hips to the ceiling. Pressing those heels down to the mat, pressing through the shoulders as we twist those triceps down and those biceps forward. Putting a slight arch in our back. Baby steps to walk those feet to the front of the mat into a forward fold. Slight bend in the knees to protect the lower back. Hands on the shins, the feet or the floor as available. From here, we'll inhale into a halfway lift. Hands on the shins, crown of the head to the front of the room. Exhaling into a forward fold. Slight bend in the knees so that we can rest our bellies on those upper legs to protect the lower back. Inhaling those arms out to the sides and up above for an extended mountain before we exhale those arms by the side for mountain. From here, inhaling those arms up into extended mountain as we begin a sun salutation. Exhaling into a forward fold, hands on the feet, the knees, the shins or the floor as available. Slight bend in the knees to protect the lower back as we inhale, placing the hands on the shins, crown of the head to the front of the room for a halfway lift. And exhale as we frame those feet at the front of the mat, sending that right foot to the back of the mat, dropping that right knee and releasing the right ankle, top of the foot to the floor. Inhaling those arms forward and up for a low lunge. We'll hold here for a few moments. Palms shoulder width apart, facing each other. Gaze forward or slightly up. here, inhaling and then exhaling as we frame that foot at the front of the mat and step that left foot back to meet the right in downward facing dog. Hips to the ceiling, pressing through the shoulders. We'll step that right foot up between the hands and drop that left knee to the ground, releasing the ankle, top of the foot to the ground as we inhale those arms forward and up for a low lunge on the other side. Gaze forward or slightly up. Inhaling here and exhaling as we frame that foot at the front of the mat, stepping that left foot up to meet the right. Inhaling to a halfway lift, hands on the shins, crown of the head to the front of the room. And exhaling into a forward fold. Inhaling those arms out to the sides and up as we go into an extended mountain at the front of the mat. Exhaling into a mountain with the hands by the sides. We'll go into a warrior one here, taking our right foot and sending it to the back of the mat, toes at 45 degrees, legs about a leg length apart. We'll take our hips and square them to the front of the room, inhaling our arms forward and up, and exhaling as we put a bend into that left knee, making sure the knee stays above the ankle, not going past those left toes. Palms shoulder width apart, facing each other. Gaze forward or slightly up. We'll hold here for a few moments. From here, stepping that right foot up to meet the left. We'll move into a warrior one on the other side, stepping that left foot to the back of the mat, toes at a 45-degree angle, squaring those hips to the front of the mat, inhaling those arms forward and up before we exhale, putting a bend into that right knee, keeping that knee over the ankle, but not letting it go past the toes. Palms shoulder width apart, facing each other, gaze forward or slightly up at a diagonal. We'll hold here for a few moments. We'll step that left foot up to meet the right. From here, moving into tree, placing that weight into that left foot and a micro bend into that left knee. Coming up to the right toes as we bend the right knee, hands on the hips as we open up to the right, placing the bottom of that right foot on the inside of the left calf. Balancing here as we extend our branches up and out long above, with the option to bring that foot to the inside of the left thigh. We'll balance here for a moment. Dropping that right foot to the ground, transitioning to the other side by moving the weight into the right foot, a micro bend into that right knee as we bend the left knee, coming up to that left toe, hands on the hips as we open up to the left there, bringing that bottom of that left foot to the inside of the right calf, inhaling our branches long above, balancing here in tree for a moment. Slowly making our way back to a child's pose at the back of the mat for a brief moment. From here, making our way up into a tabletop before we drop our hips over to the right, bringing our feet up to the front of the mat. Placing our feet on the ground, knees bent up towards the ceiling, we'll slowly lower ourselves to our backs, stretching through our hips by placing that right ankle on the top of the left knee, reaching through to grab that left shin, flexing the feet here to protect the knee as we pull those knees into the chest. Dropping that left foot down to the mat, switching to the other side by bringing the right foot to the mat, the left outside of the left ankle to the right knee, reaching through to the right shin and pulling those knees into the chest to stretch the outside of that left hip. Dropping that right foot down to the ground, sending those arms out to a T now for a reclined twist as we bring our knees up at 90 degrees, inhaling here, and exhaling as we drop those knees over to the left. Sending our gaze right out over that palm with the option to grab those knees with the left hand, making sure to keep the right shoulder on the ground. Bringing those arms back out to a T and the gaze back up to the ceiling. Those knees back up to 90 degrees before we inhale here and exhale over to the right. Sending that gaze left out over the hand. The option to grab those knees with the right hand, making sure to keep that left shoulder on the ground. From here, hugging those knees into a tight little ball, exhaling all the air out, maybe rocking around for a moment before we send our feet long to the front of the mat, letting our feet splay open wide, dropping our arms by our sides at 30 degrees, mentally going in muscle by muscle and consciously relaxing without moving or flexing anything, relaxing the tension from each muscle group. Here in final relaxation pose. From here, I'll take a moment to read another reflection on God's love for us. John 15:12. This is my commandment. Love one another as I love you. How familiar to us are these words of Jesus? Perhaps so familiar that they have lost their meaning. Jesus shared with his disciples the same love he received from the Father. What is clear to Jesus can at times be vague to us. We are able to love others because we have first been loved by God. It's one thing to know that in our heads. It's quite another to be convinced of it in our hearts. The key is to make time in our busy lives to stop and allow God to love us, to actually feel God's love for us personally. Loving others will flow naturally from our deep belief in God's personal love for us. How can I open myself more fully to God's love today? From here, bringing our awareness back into the room as we wiggle our fingers and our toes, rolling through our ankles and our wrists, maybe curling into a tight little ball or rolling over to one side as we make our way into a comfortable seated position at the front of our mat. Here, inhaling those arms up above and exhaling as we lean to the right, stretching through that left side body. Inhaling those arms up above and leaning to the left on an exhale, stretching through that right side body. Inhaling up above and exhaling those hands to the knees. It was an honor and a privilege to practice with you today. As as always, the light in me sees and honors the light in you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Thank you very much.